guys, it's Rhea. Welcome back to my channel. So for today we're gonna have our second makeup look. I did post before this one the more sultry version of my Valentine's look, but for this one I wanted to go on full pink mode. There is nothing that I love more than pink eyeshadows, so this is what I came up with. Honestly, you can use any pink shadows you have in your collection. You don't have to have what I did use, but I love how the skin is still very glowy, although I do have a full coverage foundation. I wanted to go for full coverage but wanted that glowy side of it as well. So I love how everything turned out. So if you want to see how I got this look, I want to go for a full coverage foundation, but I do want my primer to be a more glowy, hydrating. So I'm gonna go for the Wonder Glow by Charlotte Tilbury, which is one of my favorites. It gives a very pretty glow to the skin without, I feel like, being too over the top. And since I am going to be using a very matte foundation, I feel like this is going to be perfect. Just going to blend it in with a brush. This is my Rare Beauty foundation brush. This product does not provide like a super glowy base, so I'm going to be mixing my foundation. I'm going to be using the Lancome Tinted Doll. I'm going to be mixing this with this very old product. This is from L'Oreal, the Lumi, what is this? Just a Lumi Glow Highlighter. It's called Illuminator. So I'm just going to mix them together because, again, this foundation is very much on the matte side and it's very thick. So I'm going to kind of like make it a little more glowy by adding just a bit of that one. So you can see right there, like on the top I have the glowing primer or glowing illuminizer. So I'm just going to mix this together and it's still going to give me that full coverage that I want, but it's not going to be as flat matte. With that same brush, I'm just going to start blending this into my skin. I'm also going to be mixing concealer because I do want the full coverage of my Tarte one, but I do want a little bit of the brightness from the Fenty one. So I am going to start with the Tarte, and this is so exciting because this is a brand new bottle. I love opening new products. So anyway, I'm just going to start applying this around my eyes where I do have the whiteness from Vitiligo. And then a little bit down here on my nose, and then down here where I do also have white discoloration. And same brush. So I might not even need to add the Fenty one. I feel like this one is actually giving me enough brightness. I haven't used this shade in a while, but I think this is going to be perfect. It's covering pretty good. And it is giving me that brightness, so I'm just gonna skip the other concealer. So for powder, I'm going to go to my Laura Mercier. I'm just going to powder around my eyes and wherever I did put the concealer, which is going to be basically this area. To bring just a little bit more definition to my face, not really contour, I'm going to be using the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Bronzer. I've got mine in the shade 2 Medium. And I'm just going to start carving my cheeks like I would normally do whenever I'm contouring. I'm switching to a large stipple brush and I'm going to go into this Wet n Wild bronzer. This one is in the shade Palm Beach Ready. And this one is a shimmering one. And I absolutely love it. It gives a beautiful bronzy look. So I'm just going to use this in the same areas where I did like that semi contour, but this one is going to give me a more actual like bronzy look because of the shimmer. I really love this bronzer and it's super affordable. This next product is literally one of my ride or die. It's my favorite ever highlight of all times, and if you are a subscriber of mine, you probably know that I've been using this and loving this for the longest time. This is the Mary Luminizer by The Balm. I've had this product for a very long time. It's actually shattered and I had to fix it, so it's not in its best condition. But honestly, this is the most beautiful true golden highlight without being like too yellow, without being too warm. It's just perfect. I cannot stress you enough how much I love this highlight and how beautiful it is. So this is the one that I actually used on my wedding day. It's just perfection. I'm going to use this Real Techniques brush, and I'm just going to start applying this on the high points of my face where I would normally place the highlight. I don't know, you guys, I just have a very soft spot for that product. I absolutely love it. For my blush, I was kind of like going back and forth in which one to use, but honestly, I want to go very pink on my eyes and very pink on my lips. So I don't want to go too pink on my cheeks, because then I feel like it's going to be too pink in general. So although this is a pink makeup look, I do want to keep the cheeks more on the neutral nude side. So I'm gonna go for the Patrick Ta She's So LA blush. It comes with a powder and a cream, and you're supposed to use first the powder and then go ahead and finish up with the cream. So that's what we're gonna be doing today. I really like it. It's seriously the perfect blush for any makeup look. Even if you're going very nude, nothing on your eyes, or if you're going like very colorful or very like dark and smoky, this is just going to be perfect for literally any looks. So I'm just gonna smile and apply these on the apple of my cheeks. And now I'm just gonna switch to a smaller kabuki brush. This is kind of like a very dense brush. I've been loving this brush for applying cream products. I am still very uncertain on what palettes I want to use, but I did pull out 4 of them because I know that I want to use a couple from here, maybe a couple from there. So we've got, probably the one that I'm going to use the most will be the number 4 by Fenty Beauty. This one is in the shade Rose. Then we've got Mini Retro by Natasha Denona. We've got Disco Dust by Tom Ford. And then lastly we have Fire Rose by Charlotte Tilbury. So we'll come up with a look using all these 4 palettes, most likely. We're gonna start with the Natasha Denona palette, and I'm just gonna go into the shade here, which is kind of like the lighter pinkish shade. And I'm just going to use a Makeup by Mario blending brush, and I'm just going to blow this all over my crease. Just gonna blend this back and forth. I'm switching to a more smaller, precise blending brush, and I'm gonna go into the bright pink here on the Rose palette from Fenty, and I'm just going to tap off the excess, and I'm gonna start blending this into my crease. I'm going back into the Natasha Denona palette, and I'm gonna use the very last shade right here, which is a more shimmering pink shade. And with a brush that I'm actually going to wet, I'm going to be using some Mario Badescu rose water. I am going to apply this all over my lid. For my lower lash line, I'm just going to go back to the Natasha Denona palette, to the very first shade we used. And I'm just going to run this all over my lower lashes. And on the very end of my eyes, I'm just going to run the darker, more intense pink. I'm gonna dig into the Fire Rose palette, and I'm gonna go for the prime shade, which is the prettiest pink. I'm just gonna dip into this one with my finger, and I'm going to apply this on the center of my lid. This is just going to give that extra that is just absolutely breathtaking. I think this might be my favorite Charlotte Tilbury formulation so far. It's so blendable, so soft, like butter. It's so good. With the same palette, the Fire Rose, I'm just gonna go into the shade that's the Pop. So it's gonna be like a more goldy shade, and I'm gonna go with a teeny tiny brush if I can talk. And I'm just going to apply this on my inner corner. I am really liking how it looks without any liner, so I'm not gonna wing anything. I'm just going to draw a very small, very close to my lash line, a little line, just to make my lashes appear a little more full. And I'm gonna go into the Fenty palette, onto the darker shade, which is still kind of like a more pinkish brown, But that's the darkest we have, and I really don't want to include any black or brown. I think this is going to be perfect. And I'm just going to keep it very, very close. The eyes are nearly done, but I do have to apply some mascara. I have a brand new one from Hourglass called the Caution one. So I'm going to go ahead and try it. I've got mine in the shade Ultra Black. And after this, I'm just going to do my eyebrows off camera and then come back to do the lipstick and finish up. This is a beautiful packaging. Okay, this is very small. I wasn't expecting a small brush. So anyway, let's go ahead and try it out. It's a little bit of a disappointment so far. It's not giving me much volume. But I'm just going to use it for the bottom lashes. And I'll probably go back with my Bambi Eye by L'Oreal because it's not giving me as much volume as I love. I did finish up my brows off camera. And now, before we move into the lips, I'm going to just apply a tiny bit of finishing powder under my eyes. I'm going to be using the Hourglass palette. This one is the Sculpture from this year. And I'm just going to mix these two shades on the very top. And I am just going to apply this on my under eyes. Let's move on to lips, and I'm going to be using the Pillow Talk lip liner. I just really love it, and I genuinely feel like this will go on perfectly with any lipstick that you use on top, so I feel like it's really a universal pink. I'm going to go ahead and start lining my lips. I'm going to remove a little bit of that lip balm we had from earlier. For lipstick, I'm going to go for Velvet Beauty by Lisa Eldridge. It's just a beautiful, beautiful pink, and I feel like it's gonna pair very nicely with this eyeshadow. This is such a beautiful pink. Guys, there is really nothing that I love more on eyeshadows than pink shades. I feel like it just complements my skin tone very nicely, and I just love pink in general. So adding that to my makeup, it's just like the very favorite thing I can do. I just love pink eyeshadows. But anyway, here is the final look. I really love it. I just added some lashes. I did do a mix between individual and trio. On the very end, I did the trio, and then coming down to my inner corners, I did use some individuals. I used some Kiss and I used some Ardell. But anyway, this is how everything turns out. I really love the eye look. I really love how it complemented the lip. Just overall, I think this is going to be my actual makeup look for Valentine's. I'm not entirely sure what we're gonna do just yet, but this is definitely the makeup I'm gonna be using. It's just beautiful. I just love pink shades. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up and let me know in the comments down below if you're gonna be recreating this makeup look. I feel like it was very easy, and honestly, any pink shadows that you have in your collection will work. You do not have to have all the shadows that I used. That's just what I had, and I just wanted to pick my favorite pink shadows from my collection. But anyway, hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe before you leave, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!